Market forecast. I got, yes?
Could we turn down the lights so I can't see?
I am sure that we can. Hey Aubrey, is that you in the back?
Yeah.
Could you maybe go grab one of the people? Cindy is our girl, and see maybe she can dim the lights a little bit for us. So until we get those dimmed, bear with me. Anyway, we're going to do our market forecast. I've been all over the place. Well, again, you guys know I'm out of the office a lot. I'm doing, is that better?
Yeah, that's
perfect. You know, just in the last 4 months, and I'm probably going to miss one or two of these. Last week I was at the REOMAC conference in Palm Desert. If you're not familiar with REOMAC, that's an REO-centric kind of group. And the reason I go there, quite honestly, is business planning. You know, I honestly don't really go to those things to meet asset managers, to meet clients, and to do that type of networking, although there's a lot of that going on. And I really don't go to those things to meet other agents to network and do that sort of stuff, although there's a lot of that going on. I go there for data. You know, what does this person think is going to happen in the market? What do their numbers say? So anyway, we've been in REOMAC, the Gem Blue event, which we did have a few of us that attended. I know Sheila, is Diane here too? Yeah. Sheila and Diane from Redlands went and participated. I know that was a tough event this year for a lot of people budgeting, I understand that. But there's some good stuff that happened at Gem Blue. We're going to talk about some of that. I've been at the CAR meetings in Palm Desert in I don't know, in January. I was in New York at the Inman conference in January as well. And I think there's probably one other I'm missing. If Anna was here, she would remind me it was the other one. But just in the last 4 months, I've been to what I think are at least 4 or 5 very valuable conferences, if for no other reason, to go see what's going on in the market, push it into my business plan, so then I can share it with you guys so you can put it into your business plan. So, at any rate, we're going to give you the kitchen sink today. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and we're going to move pretty fast through this stuff. And again, I apologize if we move too fast. Having said that, everything that's in this presentation, it's not yet, but it will be posted on our website within the next day or two. So if there's something you want to see or what have you, all of that market data will be there. And we're going to cover a lot of stuff. So, who's seen that 212-degree video that was planned before? Okay, only half a dozen. Did anybody, I know we were kind of talking and chatting, did anybody actually take a minute to watch that? I'm not going to play it again. We will post it on the website or a link, or you can just Google it. I love that video. I was introduced to that at a conference like this, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And who actually paid attention? By the way, when I ask you to raise your hand, mean it, okay? Who actually watched that video when we were... Okay, it's only 4 of you. Okay, so the rest of you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm not going to replay it, but it basically talks about the difference between good and great, you know, between exceptional and not so exceptional, the difference between, you know, winning the race and coming in second, you know, and it's literally, you know, if it's a NASCAR race, it could be, you know, milliseconds, you know, if it's, you know, a golf match, you know, it could be a stroke, the whole point of that, at least my interpretation of that video, is something that we've talked about a lot in our sales meetings, is the difference between being good and being great. Okay? If you're good, you will not win the NCAA tournament. Okay? And quite honestly, even if you're great, you may not win the NCAA tournament. You've got to be above that. I think that analogy in our business has never been so true. Okay? 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, who was in this business in 2004, 5, and 6-ish? Okay, most of you in this room. Could you make a decent living in this business in that period of time by being good? Yes. Could you make a decent living in this business by being average? Yes. Yeah, you could. You could be and quite honestly, you could be fairly mediocre and actually do okay during that period of time. How about 2007, 2008, 2009, 10, 11? Different ball of wax. Okay? You've got to be great. If you're not great, you're going broke. How many agents do you know that you considered good agents 5 years ago that are no longer in business? I know dozens of them. Actually, if I really put my mind to it, there's hundreds of agents. Not only good agents, but good real estate companies. They're out of business today. So part of the message I want to send today is oh, by the way, I got a new presentation program I'm using. I could not figure out how to get the damn thing to spell check. So there's probably one or two typos in here. So I'm going to apologize in advance. So if something pops up and it's, oh geez, come on, guys, I got it, all right? So at any rate, we're going to talk a lot about what we need to do in this market to be great. Because frankly, it's necessary. I'm a big market guy. I love data. If you don't love data, then for the next at least 30 minutes, you probably want to go to the restroom because we're going to talk about a lot of data. I love this illustration because I think, frankly, most of you in this room are this ostrich. Okay? And I don't mean to, and I'm going to say multiple things today that may sound offensive. I apologize in advance. So if you think I'm talking to you, I probably am. Okay? So that's a terrible business plan right there. If we're just going to go along to get along, and I don't really want to know, and I don't want to know the news, then you're going to be in big trouble, in my opinion. Okay, I have about 45 news articles that I have just pulled out of online sites. Most of these are within the last 2 weeks. A few of them might be in February. There might be one or two that are going back as far as January. But you're not going to see one headline that's more than 90 days old. And we're going to go very quickly because there's literally probably 50 of them in here. And by the way, if you're not subscribing to most of these sites, you should. Okay? This one came off of, I think, Housing Wire. And they do a morning thing, Uncle Sam's foreclosure tallies. Just talking about, foreclosures that are being tallied up. Who subscribes to Housing Wire? Okay, if you don't have your hand up, start subscribing today. It's free. HousingWire.com. Send a blog post every day. There's some great stuff in there. B of A introduces new program to distressed home buyers. What is this? Who knows what this is? What is B of A talking about doing? No, rent. B of A is talking about going to homeowners that currently have a loan with B of A. They fall into some sort of category of distress, and they're saying, I'll tell you what, how about you deed the property back over to us and we'll rent it back to you? Good thing, bad thing? Okay, maybe a bad thing. I'm not overly excited about it. What does that do for us? Does that take us out of the transaction?
Yes.
It does. So for selfish reasons, and we're going to talk selfishly a lot today.
Not use property management.
Potentially. Well, we're going to talk about that. Thank you, Robert. There's going to be a lot of things on here that we may collectively say, generally speaking, that's not great or very healthy for our marketplace. Having said that, let's go back a slide or two. Okay? If rentals are going to be a big part of our industry over the next period of time, and I have multiple slides that talk about banks renting out properties, is property management a good place for us to be? Now, most of you in this room may say yes, but what good does that do me? Because you're not directly involved in the property management side. I get that. Maybe that's something that we might want to talk about. How do we get us more directly involved in the property management? I'm assuming everybody in here knows that our company's been doing property management now for 25 years. Thank God. And frankly, we may be doing a lot more property management over the next several years to come. But Robert is absolutely correct. If B of A's program takes off and they're going to make a big effort, who are we going to be contacting regarding the property management of those B of A units? Who's going to be doing that? Me. Okay? And maybe you, depending upon where we move from there. By the way, hopefully this presentation doesn't get you too nauseated. I've watched this a few times and it literally made me sick if I go too fast. So if some of these slides bouncing around cause you trouble. Okay, who subscribes to the unemployment claims from the U.S. Department of Labor? I would suggest you do it. It's free. Okay? I can forward all this stuff to you every day. We can post it on our stuff, and that's all well and good. But they send an email once a week, and it's really cool because I feel like the smartest guy in the room because on Thursday, before they post the unemployment numbers, and then on Friday morning when you turn on the television and they say, hey, unemployment went up, unemployment went down, I feel like a genius because I get to tell people about 12 hours before that, hey, guess what? Tomorrow they're going to report the unemployment numbers are going to go down. It's public information. The only reason I know is because they send this email out on Thursday night before they make the announcement, and most of us don't pay attention, and then Friday morning or sometime on Friday we see a report that says, hey, unemployment went down. What's unemployment in the United States right now? What's the rate? 8.3, down from a high of 9.1. Okay, is that a good thing for us? It's a good thing. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. Good thing or bad thing? Help me out just so I know you're not falling asleep. So at any rate, this was from last week. This was an unemployment report that came out. It may be difficult to read the numbers, but basically what this says is that the number of people applying for unemployment decreased, which is a good thing overall for the unemployment rate. I just pulled this out of the press enterprise. German journalists covering inland foreclosures. Is that a good thing or bad thing? I think it's a good thing. Why? I think it's a good thing because I think we already are seeing it. Who has cash buyers? Who has investors from other parts of the country that are buying our properties? I see several hands going up. Is it possible that people in Germany are going to think that the Inland Empire is a good place to invest? Southern California, United States? I think this is a great thing. The fact that we're getting, and it's not, I get the gut that says, oh geez, they're talking about a foreclosure market in the Inland Empire. That doesn't sound good. Well, come on guys, we've been talking about foreclosure market in the Inland Empire for 5-6 years, okay? The conversation that we're having now is a different conversation. It's not a conversation that says the world is ending, there's a lot of foreclosures. The conversation is, there's a lot of foreclosures, the market has hit bottom, we're starting to see recovery, maybe we should invest. I like this article. And if you actually read the entire article, that's exactly what the article says. So it's a plus. More bright spots emerge in the housing market. Good article or bad article? Let's be selfish. When we see something that says bright spots emerge, we like that. Right? Come on. Rate of properties entering shadow. Rate of properties finding light. The gist of that is they're saying the shadow inventory is starting to emerge. We may disagree with that in certain areas. Inventory is low. We have problems with inventory right now. But the gist of this, and this article is I think from a week ago, the gist of this says it's coming. Okay? Be prepared for it. Home prices expected to fall 0.7%, says Zillow. Is that a big deal? 0.7%, less than 1%? Is anybody going to get concerned about that? No. I wouldn't. That doesn't sound like a big deal to me. I love this one. This was put up by Housing Wire. Did anybody see anything about this? The FHFA, that's the regulatory agency that basically regulates Fannie and Freddie and HUD, decided to actually call some consumers to see whether or not their principal reduction, they're doing a study, saying, what do you think about this? And if you read the entire article, what they found by making 50 phone calls is that there's a problem. Okay? All they did is they called consumers. They called 50. Who in this room calls 50 prospects a day? A week? If I don't see some hands, we're just going to shut the meeting down right now. There's 4 people in this room that are calling 50 prospects in a week. 5 a day, assuming you take 2 days off. Or 10 a day, excuse me. Okay, well, we're going to have a different conversation about that. If we're not out prospecting, if you're not contacting at least 10 people a day in one form or another, what are you doing? I won't ask you the following question, but I'll put it out there anyway, because several of you do not have any business right now. There's a lot of people in this room that do not have one open escrow. If you don't have an open escrow in your hands, if you're not calling 50 people a day, what are you doing? Okay, no one plays solitaire anymore, do they? Games with friends or birds or angry birds or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, I just thought this was interesting because somebody at I cannot get that to flow off my tongue properly, at FHFA decided to call the consumers regarding principal reduction program that they're trying to put in place, and they found out that it wasn't quite what they thought it would be. Positive develops in the job market and housing. Good, bad? I like that. It has the word positive in it. I love it. Who knows that Grubb & Ellis went bankrupt? You guys should know that. There's only half a dozen hands. Let me ask you again. Who knows that Grubb & Okay, 5 of you. Okay. Is that a big deal? Yes. I think it's a pretty big deal. Is there somewhat of a disconnect between residential and commercial? In my opinion, there is a fairly deep disconnect between residential and commercial. But is there a connection? Of course there is. Would that surprise anybody that one of the largest commercial brokerages in the country just went bankrupt? Is that a surprise? It's not a surprise to me. Who's from our Santa Ana office? I see 2 hands. Okay. Who's been to the Santa Ana office? Okay, a few more. Good. It's on the corner of MacArthur and Fairview in Santa Ana, South Santa Ana, real close to South Coast Plaza. We are in a building that is, for the most part, empty. Okay? It's a nice building. Okay? And it's basically empty. It used to be filled almost predominantly with mortgage companies. And it's empty. Is that a problem for the commercial market? Sure it is. We manage commercial properties out of all of our offices, but specifically we have some commercial properties in the city of Moreno Valley that we manage. Vacancies are tough. Rents have dropped on the commercial side approximately 45%. Is that a problem for those landlords, those owners? Is it a problem? You know, commercial loans normally have to refinance those loans every 5 years. We've got some mortgage people in here, and I don't know if we do a lot of commercial loans, but commercial loans you got to refinance every 5 years normally. Wow, how would you like to have taken out a loan in 2006 on your commercial building that you had to refi this year? Values are down, tenants are down, vacancies are up rather, and rents are down. That's a problem. But at any rate, I find this interesting with Grubb & Ellis. Grubb & Ellis will not go away, by the way. I mean, they're reorganizing and all the rest of that. But it is interesting as it relates to our marketplace. HUD grants, who saw this? $42 million to housing counselors. Okay, this is basically people that are going to be counseling, if you will, people that are in distress. Could be good, could be bad. Generally, I don't like this. Okay? These are basically advising people on how to stay in your property forever and not pay your mortgage. And it's our taxpayer money that's going that direction. I like this. This is an article that actually came off of DS News, but who's a LinkedIn person? Okay, about half of you. I am, to be honest with you. I find LinkedIn and Facebook and a lot of these other things a little challenging. I'm still trying to figure out my place with it. But I'm subscribing to this group. And is anybody subscribed to this group, the DS News group on LinkedIn? So you've seen this. Housing crisis to end in 2012 as banks loosens credit standard. The blog posts going back and forth on this particular post are ridiculous. I get 6 or 7 different comments and posts on that a day. And frankly, most of the posts are saying, which is going to be the theme of our whole talk here today, the market's improving. Did you hear that? The market's improving. Okay? And that really seems to be the theme of what's going on with these posts. And in effect, it's obviously it talks about housing crisis, which kind of is the hook line there. But the gist of what this is saying, and I happen to believe it, and whether it's because the banks are loosening credit or not, okay, maybe that's one aspect of it, and that may not even be true. We still having trouble getting loans funded?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that kind of fly in the face of what this says? Yeah. It does. But the people that just said yes, do you still think the housing market's improving?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I do. Whether it's because of this, I don't know. But the housing market is improving, and the people who are subscribing to this, which by the way, most of them are not realtors, believe it or not. Most of them are consumers that are on LinkedIn that for some reason, maybe they're going to engage in the market to buy a house, and they're looking at stuff like that, and they're saying that they think the housing market is improving. Home building permits returning to top foreclosure states. Good, bad? It's good news.
Good.
Okay? Which, by the way, for those of you that have been in my meetings before, I used to put a thing up on the screen that said, there is no good news or bad news, it's just good news. So forget I ever said that, because there's a lot of good news here. Okay? I put that on the screen when the news looked bad. Okay? So maybe I was playing games with it, but there's a lot of good news in these things. Housing permits are up. This is hilarious, you know. Foreclosure timelines. You know, Fannie, Freddie have had one to blame the states because of this. That's pretty funny. Trustees, who's working with trustee sales or investors? I know at least a couple of you are trying to work with investors at the courthouse steps. Who subscribes to Foreclosure Radar? 4 of you. You guys, everybody in this room's hand should go up. They need to change the name from Foreclosure Radar to, this is a must-have real estate application for all realtors in the business today. Because people see Foreclosure Radar and they think it's all about foreclosures. Oh, I don't do foreclosures. I'm never going to get a foreclosure account. The name is wrong. This is the single best tool that we have in the business today to do business. Now, I understand it's $40 a month. I get that. Okay? I understand many of you, probably in this room, have said, hey, Lance, can I get onto your Foreclosure Radar site? And many of you have said, sure. And I had to stop because I'd have 300 people or at least 150 people on my web or on my site every day. It's unusable because you can't do that. If you're putting together your business plan a little late for this year and you go to the budget item of how much money you're going to spend on your business plan in 2012, you need to dedicate $40 a month to this program. All right? The information here, I mean, it's almost as important as your cell phone. Okay? It's that big. At any rate, what Foreclosure Radar says, and it's backed up by all the data, is one of the reasons we're saying, hey, we have an inventory problem, there's not as many properties coming to the market. One of the reasons that's happening is because a lot of the properties that would go through the pipeline, at least that go through foreclosure, are being bought by who at the courthouse steps? Being bought by third-party investors. Okay? All day long. As a matter of fact, there's so many people out there that are buying third-party investors at the courthouse steps that the quote-unquote real investors are getting pissed. Okay? They're really, really frustrated. Specifically the folks at the Norris Group, I talk to them, I don't know, once a week or a couple times a month anyway. That's been their business model for at least for the last 5-6 years. They're really aggravated because there's a huge amount of competition from people buying at the courthouse steps. They used to be the only people there. So at any rate, if you're not in the investor market, you need to consider that. Foreclosure filings fall 2%. Okay, fair enough. Foreclosure activity. I thought this was interesting. Not to do a real estate licensing class, but judicial foreclosures, non-judicial foreclosures. California is a non-judicial foreclosure state. We don't have to go to court to foreclose on people, right? Traditionally, the amount of time it takes to go through a judicial foreclosure has always been longer than it is in the non-judicial foreclosure states. Well, guess what happened last year? They're actually foreclosing on people faster in the judicial foreclosure states than they are in states like California. Which is pretty interesting. I find that interesting. It's like, goodness gracious, what's going on here? Bated breath, the states consider, what settlement are we talking about here? Robo-signing settlement. The Attorney General's settlement. 49 states signed off and basically took B of A, Chase, help me out here, Wells Fargo, Citi, who? Alley. Okay. They took those big boys, did the big settlement, and basically it effectively ended the robo-signing issue that we've been dealing with for approximately 16 months. Okay? For those of you that were around or were listening to me talk on my opinion on the market back in October of 2010, was I excited in October of 2010 for the prospects of the real estate market improving? I was. And then 3 days later, the robo-signing scandal comes out. The 60 Minutes news article comes out about Linda Green. Everybody remember Linda Green? Linda Green's the lady who signed 1 billion documents that pushed the foreclosures to the property. And then literally overnight, our market stopped. And this, and if you weren't paying attention, this for the most part is the end of that nightmare. So if you didn't realize you were in a nightmare, we've all been in a nightmare, in a robo-signing nightmare from about October of 2010 up until about a month ago. Okay? Now, this is a good thing. Whether the settlement's good or not, I don't know. Whether it's right and just, I have no idea. But essentially ending that robo-signing scandal is a good thing. Median price, this is huge. I love this slide. We could just stop right here. Okay? Zillow reports the median rent price on the rise as home values drop. Now you might say, oh, that doesn't sound good. I'm telling you, this is huge, this is big, this is really good, and I'm going to take a break from our new slides, and I'm going to show you this slide, which I think most of you in this room have seen, because I have it in a presentation. This is the single most impactful PowerPoint slide that I have ran across in probably the last 3 years, maybe 4 years. And if you haven't seen it before, I'll explain it to you briefly. The dark blue line is this is national, by the way. This isn't California or Southern California. This is the United States. Okay? Dark blue line is the U.S. House Price Index. They basically have some sort of algorithm, and they take a look at what the value of a property is, so on and so forth. Don't get hung up so much on the numbers over here, the 150 and the years are important, but bottom line is they have an algorithm that kind of puts together the housing price and it comes up with the numbers. Okay, the purplish line is the equivalent rent rate. All right, you with me?
Yep.
Let me see if I can get my pointer to work. So this is 1983, and pretty close, right? Here we get 1989. Looks like the housing prices started to exceed the rent rates there for a little while. Then we get to 1992, I guess, and we kind of do our thing. Okay, by the way, what was going on between 1993 and 1999 when the rent rates exceeded the housing index? We had a recession. If you want to take it local, who was doing business in this room between 1993 and 1999? Raise your hand. Okay. Was that a challenging market? It was for me. Everything I did was basically Fannie and Freddie foreclosures. And frankly, at the time, it seemed like the end of the world compared to what we've gone through the last few years. That was like a walk in the park. But at any rate, the values actually dropped. And then, of course, we get to 1999, and what's going on? And then we peak here. This is basically 2006. Which, by the way, you need to know this stuff, by the way. If you're talking to your clients, is it kind of nice just to kind of roll some of these facts off your tongue and say, hey, oh, by the way, and this is pretty much, this is national, but this number works for Riverside, Moreno Valley, Claremont, Covina, Santa Ana, Southern California, the United States. The median price of properties in the world peaked in June of 2006. You should know that. Okay? And the reason you should know it is because your customers know it. And they're going to be testing you. And if you don't know that off the top of your head, you're going to have a problem. Anyway, June of 2006, what happened to the gap between rents and property values? A little problematic. Okay, let's cut to the quick. Where are they now? They're in equilibrium. The world is balanced. Okay? I am primarily a listed agent. And again, I don't know all of you as well as I should, but I still sell. And I'm going to continue to sell until I can't sell anymore because I enjoy it. I don't like working with buyers. I never have. I've always enjoyed working with sellers. I'm primarily a listing guy. Having said that, I certainly am a buyer for my own personal investments. I certainly have relatives of mine coming to me at various times saying, Lance, should I buy a house? I want to buy a house. I have to buy a house. Please sell me a house. And frankly, from 2006 up until about 3 months ago, there's no way in the world I would have bought a house. There's no way in the world I would have recommended to a friend or family member to buy a house. And this is why. I don't like that. Has my attitude changed? My attitude, I've done a 180. Now, and by the way, what's this blue line going to do? Is it going to overcorrect? Is the blue line, matter of fact, this is an old chart. This is, I think, October of last year. If I had a fresh version of this, and this was put out by the California Association of Realtors, by the way. I should have my little tag down here, but I think I cut it off. Is that going to overcorrect? Is it overcorrecting? It's overcorrecting already. Why do you think the Germans are writing articles about the market in Southern California? They want to invest in Southern California. They want to buy. Why do we have people at the courthouse steps buying third-party foreclosures? Because they see this and they say, now is a good time to buy. The market is changing, folks. So if you're still hung up in this world, oh, the foreclosure is chattel inventory, there's not enough houses, what am I going to do? You need to you got to get to work. You got to get to work. And frankly, the numbers bear this out. I love this chart. Chinese investors buy Moreno Valley storefront. When's the last time you saw articles about Chinese or Japanese or anybody coming over and buying property in the United States? It's been a while. That's the first one I've seen. Right? Let them take over America. As long as they buy through us. They can come, they can buy, just like the Japanese took over. Remember the Japanese were going to take, they bought Pebble Beach and they bought all of New York. Okay, we got it back. Market changed a little bit. I like this. This is good news for us. This is very good news for us. Home repossession set to jump. This is going to happen. Don't let this scare you. There's millions of properties in foreclosure. There's millions of properties underwater. Just the fact that we don't have a lot of inventory right now, we're going to have a lot of these. And by the way, if you're thinking, oh, I see a lot of foreclosure stuff here, who's doing short sales? Raise your hand, all of you, everybody. If you're not doing short sales this year, be prepared to work with buyers. Okay? Short sales, I think, is where it's at this year. A lot of opportunity in short sales. So the banks don't want to foreclose. But that doesn't mean that the people still aren't in default. So you got to do something with them. They're going to short. Chase is paying tens of thousands of dollars encouraging people to do short sales. Who's got a client who got the letter? Hector? Shelley? Paul? I got $30,000. Chase will pay you $30,000. Not across the board. It depends on a variety of factors. They will pay you money. Please do a short sale. We're pre-approving you in advance.
I closed the seller. She got 20 grand.
20 grand.
Plus the $3,000.
There you go. All above board on the HUD. Approved by Chase. Different world.
Walk away.
Totally different. The first time I saw that, it made me sick. It really did. I mean, my whole world has changed a little bit. Some of this stuff, like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? These people haven't made their mortgage payments. We're going to do is approve a short sale. It's on a rental, and we're going to pay them $30,000 at close of escrow. It made me sick. But you know what? That's the reality of what we're in. So, by the way, I mentioned foreclosure radar earlier. On foreclosure radar, can you search properties in default with the servicer being Chase?
Yes. Yep.
Anybody got a little bell going off in their head? You can, through foreclosure radar, pick an area, give me properties in default, servicer Chase, search them. Is Diane Arnott in the room? She's not. You know what Diane Arnott does on her short sale deals? At least this is what she says she does. If she doesn't do it, she should. She goes out either with a piece of paper or with her tablet. She has her foreclosure radar information on her piece of paper on her tablet. She knocks on Mr. and Mrs. Seller's door, or Mr. and Mrs. Distressed Property Seller's door. What are you going to do about this? Now I see a couple of people, geez, is that really the approach we want to take? Maybe not. Maybe that's not your style. But I'm going to place a bet. If there's anybody in this room that does more short sale deals than Diane Arnott this year, you tell me what you're doing. Because that's what she's doing. And she'll probably close 40 of them this year. Now again, you have to know Diane to understand what I just told you. And there might be a different approach. But is anybody knocking on the door and saying, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, I've been doing some research and I see you've got a little bit of a problem. Is there something I can do to help you? Maybe a little different approach. Anybody doing that? 3 of you, 4 of you, 5 of you. It should be 100 of you. Everybody should be dealing with that. And again, not just because we're looking at more defaults and foreclosure. Inland area considered strong investment opportunity. Press Enterprise. Good news? Good news. You gotta love it. Government held REO halved during the robo-signing freeze. Was that a problem? My opinion, it was a problem. Robo-signing freeze over? Yes. Old news. Let's put it behind us. Los Angeles Times. Average 30-year mortgage rate edges up above 4%. Oh my God. What are we going to do with interest rates above 4%? Now, Bernanke has come out and basically continued to say, don't worry about interest rates, they're going to relatively remain flat or low for the next at least another year or two. Having said that, I actually think it would be a good thing for interest rates to start to edge up over the next 12 months. It's going to happen sooner or later. What happens to the consumer? Forget about the fact, oh wait a minute, if interest rates go up, they can't buy as much of a house, they can't buy as much of their payment. What happens to the mindset of a consumer when they think interest rates are going up?
Fear of loss.
Fear of loss. I'm going to lose my opportunity to buy. I better buy now. Coupled with that chart I showed you before with price index and rents, I think it would actually put a fire under a lot of people. If I'm a consumer and I'm looking at a market that's relatively flat, and the numbers will bear out that the market is relatively flat, and I've been told by Chairman Bernanke that don't worry about interest rates for the next 2 years, what's the message that's being sent? Sit back, hang out, no hurry. I got plenty of time. So I liked this. Interest rates going up a little bit, 4%. Are you kidding me? Good Lord. Well, I'm a news junkie. I think I was watching, CNBC or Fox Business or something like that. And they did 5-minute thing about, oh my God, rates are going up. It's a terrible thing, the consumers, and how could this happen? And the buyers aren't going to be able to buy, and the cost has just gone up. I like it. Nothing wrong with it. Having said that, I got a lot of lenders in the back. I'm going to introduce you guys all later. Who thinks that interest rates are going to be at 5% in the next 12 months? Raise your hand. Lenders. Everybody else put your hand down. Joy, you're outvoted. None of your colleagues think interest rates are going to be above 5%. You may be right, but I don't think interest rates are going to be above 5%. Who knows? Maybe something crazy will happen, but I don't see it happening. Okay, prices decline slow, but REO's on the rise. Fair enough. Oops, I might have wanted to look at that one. What did that say? When excluded, home prices show monthly gain. Are our property values stable? They are, and we're going to show you some charts about that. Recovering housing market still poses problems for banks, S&P says. Surprise? There's a lot of trouble out there for the banks. Rancho Cucamonga warehouse finds tenant. Is that good news?
Yeah.
It sure is. We just had a kind of a negative thing. Well, Grubb & Ellis just took a dive. But, sounds like they got a big warehouse deal in Rancho. Out in Moreno Valley, some guy wants to build 1 billion square feet of warehouse space, putting his money into it. Doesn't make any sense to me because we have 1 billion square feet of vacant warehouse space already. But it doesn't matter. He wants to build it. He's probably a heck of a lot smarter than me. Let him build the darn thing. So that's a plus. U.S. government, U.S. household wealth grew. Gotta hate that, right? That's not good. Of course it's good. People feel a little bit more comfortable. U.S. home sales have best winter in 5 years. Did we feel that? Now it might not have felt like the best winter for generally speaking, but compared to where we've been, and this is really one of the main reasons I want to have this meeting. For those of you that feel the last couple of, and I feel this, because I kind of feel the exact same way. If your thought is the year is getting off to a slow start, I'm struggling, I'm not optimistic for the rest of 2012, I'm going to show you some data that hopefully is going to make you say, uh-oh, maybe the first of the year hasn't got off to such a slow start. Looks like some people are selling some houses. And nationally, we've had the best winter in 5 years. Now, not that the 2007 winter was fantastic, but it's certainly improving. Good news. What time is it? I'm way long.
9:30. 9:30.
It's 9:30 already? Oh boy. Okay, it's on the screen. Thank you. That's not slow. Has that been on the screen the whole time?
Yep.
What kind of presenter am I? Goodness gracious. What's that? Long-winded? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, now you know what to expect next time we do one of these. All right, I'm going to blow through the rest of these a little quicker. Again, same article in the Press Enterprise. Geithner breeds. Everybody know who Geithner is, right? I don't like Geithner. I think he's an idiot. Okay. Having said that, he seems he's not as quite gloomy and doomy. I don't think he's ever been gloomy and doomy. I've been more gloomy. That's why I don't like him. I just don't see what that guy's doing half the time. New home sales drop in February, but average prices rise. I like that. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the rental program. Matter of fact, let me stop here and get this little story out of the way. Most of you have heard me talk about the bulk sale and rental program that Fannie and Freddie and basically the GSEs are engaged in. Most of you have heard me rant that CAR was behind the curve, and I think this is bad. And for those of you that aren't really familiar with it, I'm just going to give you a 30-second Reader's Digest version of what this is. The FHFA has a program, which is basically done regulatorily, that's the regulator for Fannie and Freddie and HUD, that says instead of foreclosing traditionally, putting these properties on the market traditionally, which allows you and I to participate in the sale, and it allows Tony to do the loan, and Amy and Walter and others to do and Summer to do the escrow, and someone to do a termite inspection and all the rest of that sort of stuff. They have said we're not going to foreclose traditionally, we're going to bulk sell these properties, no transaction for us, and then we're going to lock them into a rental program. Whoever buys these properties, and you are not allowed to buy these or sell these properties for anywhere from 3 to, used to say 5 years, now I'm hearing 3 to 7 years. Okay? Which means that property that's now bulk sold is locked out of a transaction for whatever period of time that is. Okay? We don't like that. I sure as heck don't like it. Okay? Now, this is the deal. I've got 2 completely conflicting pieces of information I'm going to share with you. The first, who knows who Richard Smith is, other than shoes? Okay, Richard Smith, I may have the title wrong, but he is the, I don't think they call him top dog, but I will call him top dog of Realogy. Realogy is the parent holding owner company of Coldwell Banker, C21, ERA, and a few others, Sotheby's, and whatever. Okay? Now, in New Orleans, we had an opportunity, broker owners like myself, to have a face-to-face, which was nice, with Richard Smith and Jim Gillespie, he's the Coldwell Banker guy, and Budge Husky, he's another Coldwell Banker guy, Alex Perillo, who I think is he Realogy or is he Coldwell Banker? Shoes. Realogy. He's a Realogy guy, and a few other people, okay? There was only about 50 brokers in the room. We had them for about an hour, and we spent about a half hour talking about this. I have never been so proud to be associated with Coldwell Banker than I was during that half-hour meeting. And I haven't been able to say that a lot. I've sat through similar meetings and walked out and said, these guys don't know what the heck they're talking about. Okay? During that half-hour meeting, Richard Smith of Realogy gave more information, more articulately than anybody I'd ever heard speak on this topic, ever. Which isn't saying a lot, or is saying a lot, because I've heard all of the leadership at NAR and CAR speak at it, and at the same time I felt all this pride to being affiliated with Coldwell Banker, I actually was disgusted with our leadership at CAR and NAR. Because 2 weeks earlier, I'm talking to them about it, and you talk about completely different interpretations of events, and Richard Smith had it nailed. And basically, this is what he said. He basically said, don't worry about this, and it's going to be minimal. Probably about 10,000 units total. Depending upon what happens in the election, I'm going to refrain from being political. But in effect, what he said is if Obama gets reelected, the program will continue and may grow. If he doesn't get reelected, it will probably die and end. But in either case, he seemed to think that the impact was going to be minimal. And again, 10,000 units is a lot of units, but spread over the country, not so bad. Who knows that we already had the first bulk sale in Southern California? Raise your hand. You need to know that. We bulk sold already about 2,700 properties. Approximately 500 to 700 of those 27 properties were located in our marketplace, which I will describe as LA and Riverside counties. Okay? So we have already had 700 properties taken off the market that we cannot sell. Good thing, bad thing? Bad thing. We need inventory. And, by the way, what happens to them? They go into rental. No transactions for 3 to 7 years. Okay, so I leave New Orleans very happy, thinking, wow, Richard Smith has a real grip on this thing, and I completely summarized, and he was very eloquent on his stance on what was going on. But at any rate, pretty minimal impact, 10,000 units. Then I go to the RioMac meeting last week. Who knows Rick Sharga? Realty Track. May ring a bell if you think of Realty Track. And everybody's heard of Realty Track in one form or another. They're a big data company. They do this data mining. Rick Sharga used to be the CEO and president of Realty Track. He was one of the guys that I would go hear, specifically go pay $400 to go hear this guy speak at one of these conventions. Rick Sharga has left Realty Track. Anybody know where Rick Sharga is working today? Carrington. Carrington Property Management / LLC / investment company / we want to buy bulk properties and we want to rent them out. Okay? Rick spoke. This guy is bright. He knows exactly what's going on. Guess how many units he said are going to be impacted by this? 200,000 to 300,000. So I have a problem. Do I believe Richard Smith, who said about 10,000? And I believe that Richard Smith believes it's going to be 10,000. I think it's going to be minimal. But then I'm scared because now we got a guy who's well, not that our livelihood doesn't depend on it, not that Realogy's livelihood doesn't depend on it, but Rick Sharga in Carrington, and there's other companies that are positioned to do just that, and they're talking numbers of 200,000 to 300,000 units, which if that happens in Southern California, that's not good. So you guys are going to be getting emails, you're going to be getting letters, you're going to be getting communications from me and from NAR and CAR, and frankly, the local legislators in California are completely opposed to this. Okay? So when you get something, if you're not a political junkie like me, and you get something from anybody that says this is a bad idea and we'd like you to send an email or we'd like you to sign on to this petition, you need to do that. Okay? If you're not the type of person that normally does that, do me a favor, make an exception on this one. And we want to oppose this. It's not good. It's literally, in my eyes, it is the only obstacle that we have in our marketplace right now. It's the only one. So, all right, moving along. I'm way behind. Inventory decline, let's blow through that. Let's go through that. Oh, I have to do that real quick. Who's familiar with how long it takes to foreclose on a house in Florida?
1 year.
When the Florida legislature says it's taking too long to foreclose on a house, has there been a fundamental shift in thinking?
Yes.
Been a fundamental shift in thinking. Were they saying that a year ago? Were they actually part of the reason it was taking, 2 years to foreclose on a house in Florida?
Yes.
Somebody finally has said, stop the madness. So even the legislature in Florida says, this is crazy. We got to speed this up. We got to keep going. Bank of America, we already talked about that, turning their stuff into foreclosure, related sale. Oh, by the way, there's 900,000 foreclosure sales. If you might want to know that stat. Well, how many properties really actually were foreclosure related in last year? 907,000. There's your number. Okay? So, economists optimistic about new construction, housing recovery, and more recovery. Let me buzz through the rest of these sort of. I apologize if close your eyes if you're going to get sick. We're going to blow through the rest of these. By the way, all of these are on our website if you want to see them. Okay? All right, and you should be getting these. And that, guys, you talk about information overload. This is why I struggle with Facebook and I struggle with all these other things. I'm getting dozens and dozens of these every day, and I read them. And then I, go on Facebook and see that somebody, took a picture of their eggs and bacon and want me to make a comment on it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm really supposed to reply back to your breakfast you had this morning? Are you kidding me? Ay, ay, ay. Okay, foreclosure radar. Again, many of you have already seen this type of data. Do not put this in the context of foreclosures. This is not a foreclosure meeting we're having today. This is the Claremont office. Who's from Claremont? Raise your hand. Good. Representing Claremont. Beautiful. There are 15,554 properties within a 20-mile radius of the Claremont office that are in distress. Foreclosure, notice of default, notice of sale. If you can't see this, here's the numbers. 5,463 have notice of defaults. 8,170 have notice of sales. Who wants to tell me what that means? Who's brave enough to... How many days is that property going to go to foreclosure, in theory?
21.
Shout it out. 21 days. If you don't know the answer to that off the top of your head, then you need to get into some training classes, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So, in theory, within the next 21 days, there's 8,100 properties within a 20-mile radius of Claremont office that are going to go to foreclosure. Is that truly going to happen in the next 21 days? No. Are these people probably going to cure their property this year?
No.
So what's going to happen to them at some point in the future? Bank-owned or short sale. There's your market. Go get it. And there's only 1,912 properties that are actually REO, foreclosed upon, most of which are not on the market because they're tenant occupied or going through rehab or something like that. Those are big numbers. Have these numbers changed dramatically in the last several years?
No.
No. And I have the data, if I was to pull up this same chart from last year and the year before and the year before, the numbers would almost be the same. They'd shift around a little bit, but this top line number would be about the same. The number that are in default as opposed to short sales as opposed to R&R would shift a little bit. There's your market, guys. This is Covina. 20 mile. Now I understand there's a little bit of a lap over. 20 mile from Claremont, Covina, we were talking some of the same market, but if you do a 20-mile radius around Covina, there's 18,000 properties, 16,000 notice of defaults, almost 10,000 have notice of sales. Big numbers. Let's take a look at Moval. I shrunk this down here a little bit, which is, by the way, for those of you that think, Moreno Valley is the foreclosure capital in the world, well, there's more in Claremont and Covina than there are in Moreno Valley. So, okay. All right. So, true, there's the number. There it is. So leave us alone. All right. So you got 14,000 that are total, 5,200 notice of defaults, and almost 7,000 notice of sales. Here's Redlands. Redlands gets the prize for the least amount, 20-mile radius. Now you got to remember, when you're drawing a 20-mile radius, half of that's desert and mountain, so that doesn't really count. So their numbers are big too, so don't feel too bad or too good about it. It's almost impossible to see. It's way up at the top, but there's 11,600 properties total in default, 4,100 in notice of default, 5,500 in notice of sales. Big numbers, same market. Okay, this is Santa Ana. Orange County. Does Orange County have a foreclosure problem? Are they immune?
No,
They're immune to the problem. They have no problem in Orange County. They are Orange County. BS. Orange, they have just as large of a problem as everybody else. They have a different problem, though, and frankly, they're fortunate that most of them, not most, but a good percentage of the loans in Orange County are jumbos. The banks appear to be a little more forgiving to people with jumbo loans than they do to us lowly little conforming lenders or loan people. But they've got huge numbers in Orange County. 8,600 properties within a 21-day window of foreclosure, within a 20-mile radius of Santa Ana. And you got to remember, the same issue that we just talked about with Redlands, look at their 20-mile radius. How much of it's in the water? Right? So from a per capita density standpoint, they got just as big a problem, if not a bigger problem, than we have out in the Inland Empire and San Gabriel Valley. Okay. You need to know this. I haven't ran this one in a while. This is basically Southern California. This is pretty much from Bakersfield to Tijuana. 96,000 properties in default. 48,522 have notice of sales filed. Wow. CAR thinks that we're going to sell about 450,000 houses this year. Well, based upon what's in the pipeline right now, it appears as though a minimum of a quarter of them will be distressed. Big numbers. Guys, these are astronomical numbers. It's really, really crazy stuff. Okay, broker metrics. We're going to buzz through these pretty quick because frankly they all look the same. We're going to show charts for Claremont. We're going to show charts for Covina, Moreno Valley, Redlands, Santa Ana, CRMLS, SoCal MLS. They're going to blur. The actual charts look the same. This is median price in Claremont. Is our value stable in Claremont? Yes. I will not bother to tell you or ask you the question. Are values stable in Covina? Yes. Redlands? Yes. Moreno Valley? Yes. Santa Ana? Yes. All of Sierra MLS? Yes. All of SoCal MLS?
Yes.
Yes. Values are stable. This is a 2-year window. Values are stable. Okay? So I'm going to blow through a few of these. Let's take a look a little bit more at Covina. This is a chart. Who's seen these charts before? Let me rephrase that. Who has not seen these charts before? Okay, good. A good number of you. This is broker metrics data. The red bars, active inventory for the last 2 years. Active inventory has been getting what? A little bit less. Okay? The blue bars are units under contract. This is February of 2009. This is February of last month. Blue bars are properties under contract. What's been happening to properties under contract in Claremont? Going up. When's the last time property values pending sales were larger than last month in Claremont? It's been more than 2 years ago. Let me show you. And by the way, the answers are the same for every other market, with the exception of one. There's one little anomaly, but it's so small it's not even worth talking about. Let me show you something. This is Claremont. These are properties under contract, pending sales, new escrows, month of February. By the way, this is not just Claremont. This is Claremont and Montclair, and I think I got a little bit of Ontario, a little bit of a radius around there. And there's 314 properties that were in escrow. Follow my marker. Do you see anything above 300? Oops. We got one down at the very bottom. So it's basically been approximately 22 months since we've had more units go in escrow in the city of Claremont than we had last month. Good thing, bad thing?
Good thing.
Good thing. Who thought February was a crappy month? Be honest. Liars. Some of you thought February was a bad month. Well, in comparison to the 22 months before it, it was pretty good. Okay? And I'm not going to bore you with all the other ones for these other markets, but it was pretty darn good. This is a problem. This is our absorption rate, our month supply of inventory. This is again another one of those X factors. Do we have enough properties to sell in that Claremont market? No. We have 2.3 months of inventory. This is why that bulk sale rental program is a disaster for us. We don't need less inventory, we need more inventory. Get involved, get proactive with that. That I don't like. And quite honestly, if we had this much inventory in the market in Claremont right now, even though I still wouldn't like the bulk sale rental program, I would not like it as bad or as worse. What am I trying to say? You know what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm trying to say. I still would hate it, but I wouldn't hate it as much. Because we have some inventory to sell. We don't have any inventory to sell. Thank God the California legislators get that. They get, is that, I mean, God, if the people at FHFA would just look at that chart alone and they would think, why are we taking property out of the inventory in Southern California? They would stop. Okay, let's take a list, blow by that. Now, again, I'm going to go through these really quick. This is Covina. Does that look pretty similar to Claremont? Yeah. It does. Does this chart look pretty similar to Claremont? It does. Let me just focus in on this real quick. I'm looking at pending sales only, under contract. 143. Help me out here. February pending sales were the best in the last 2 years. I could go back farther. It might even be the best in the last 3 years. Right? If you look at the newspaper articles we said, it said it was the best in how many years? 5 years. Time to get to work, folks. If you're waiting for something to happen, you wasted 2 months already, or 3 months already. It's time to get to work. The numbers are showing. What's this? There's our inventory problems. Same issues. Let's take a look at Marina Valley. Property value stable? Yep, already know the answer. Inventory declining a little bit? Yep. How about pending sales? Let's take a look at the number. 281 last month. You with me?
Yes.
Do I have to go through more of these? You got it? The market's getting better. Let's get to work. I'm just going to blow through the rest of these pretty quick. Redlands. Redlands values are stable. Inventory is coming down. Pendings, again, just look at the chart. Look at the chart. Look at that blue one right there. It's higher than any. You don't even have to go to the next chart. We're selling houses, folks. Who's not selling houses? You have one honest guy in the room. 2. Who hasn't sold a house? Raise your hand. Who hasn't sold a house this year? Raise your flipping hands. All right, it's okay. Let's talk. That's why we're here. Let's sit down. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do to make that happen. The houses are being sold. So let's get engaged and see what we can do to help out. This is CRMLS. This is a much wider sample. Okay? This is all of Inland Empire. This is from Temecula to San Gabriel Valley, all the whole 9 yards. Are values stable? Yes. Inventory coming down a little bit? Yes. Pending sales going up? Yes. Got it. All right, let's blow through the rest of these. All of these will be on the website. And by the way, if you want charts like this for a specific city, if you have a listing presentation, now this is not Foreclosure Radar, by the way. This is a program called Broker Metrics. It's very expensive. It's about $400 a month to get the stuff I'm getting. I don't expect you guys to go out and spend $400 a month to get this. By the way, this is similar to what is this similar to? Help me out. Claris? Who used Claris? A couple of you use Claris? Similar but not quite as good. If you want to get data on, you have a listing presentation on Ontario, and you want to get Ontario-specific numbers, send me an email. Anna will pull it up for you, we'll zip them over to you. You can put them in your presentation. Okay, so this is, actually, where was I? This is this Sierra? Okay, this is Santa Ana. Santa Ana office. Property value stable in Santa Ana? Yep. Pendings up in Santa Ana. Unit sales, pendings are up. Available inventory down. It's the same. I got to tell you, our market is a lot more monolithic than you might think. Real estate's local, Marina Valley's different than Redlands. Okay, sure it is, but when you just look at the raw data and what prices have done and inventory's done, our market is very similar. And then last but not least, I found this to be pretty interesting. This is median price in all of SoCal MLS, Orange County basically. It's a lot lower than I thought. Median price in all of SoCal MLS is $213,000. I expected it to be more, But, and actually, if we go back to the Sierra MLS chart, it's not that much different. So again, kind of surprising to me. But again, values are stable, inventory is down, pendings are up. Pendings are up. Did you guys got the message yet? Are pendings up? Pending sales are up. Okay. All right. We are done with the data part. Has anybody got it? I haven't heard any questions. Anybody got any thoughts on that? You're with me? You against me? You think this is right? You think it's wrong? No?
Well, no. It seems like when we look at Case Shiller every month, it seems like the
Yep.
data seems much more drastic, like we're in a declining market.
Okay.
This seems like a lot more laissez-faire than, or am I just being too myopic?
I think you're being too myopic, although I like Case Shiller. I think Case Shiller is a very good report. I look at it all the time. But when you look at the actual statistics of numbers that they're reporting over, it's not drastic. Well, again, just going back to the...
When you annualize it, it's like, it's 6% decline to 12% decline annualized. So it's that frightening,
Look at this. There's 2 years worth of data at SoCal MLS. That is a 3.5% property value decline in 24 months. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should have these at our meetings on the...
There's the number. And again, I won't go back and pull the other ones up because we're data, swamped here. That's stable property values. Okay? Okay. All right. All this stuff is available. Again, we'll go from there. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about Lead Router. Okay? Lead Router is very, very near and dear to my heart. Who is currently participating in Lead Router? Really? Good. Okay. All right. Not to be negative, because I want the focus of our meeting to be positive, but are red balls in Lead Router good or bad? Bad. You don't want any red balls in Lead Router. And don't worry about it, I've cut the people's names off over here. So in case, oh my God, wait a minute, your name, insert your name here. Okay? We have a Lead Router problem, folks. I'm going to be blunt. We're not calling our clients back. We're marking people dead that shouldn't be. We're wasting money. My money, your money, the person sitting next to you's money. If we take a lead, the collective we, and we don't follow through with that lead properly, we're costing somebody money who's sitting right next to us. Because maybe Lou would have picked up that lead and called him and taken care of him and put him in escrow. Yeah, right? So we're going to change things up a little bit with Lead Router. There's going to be I don't want to say zero tolerance, that's probably a little harsh, but if you are consistently red, you will no longer be eligible for Lead Router. And you will have to beg to get back, period. And you're not going to beg your sales manager, you're going to beg me. Okay? So if you think Lead Router is a good thing, and you've profited from Lead Router, and you want to continue to do Lead Router, it's very simple. Don't go red. I don't want to freak you out. The occasional red because of extenuating circumstances is not the end of the world. That's not what I'm talking about. But we have people who are chronically, and it's not just red. It's agents that are just, marking leads dead. I called and left him a message and didn't call me back. Dead. Is that acceptable? Totally unacceptable. You know, Matthew Farrar does a thing, and I'm going to count it. The client never called me back. 6 words. Okay? Matthew Farrar, if you're not familiar with him, he's a global banker kind of speaker, and he has a great blog that you should subscribe to. He says the 6 most common where he used to manage the lead router site and does training classes on lead router. And he would do all sorts of metrics and graphics on it. And the client never called me back. Those 6 words were the most common used words in lead router. Is it the client's job to call us back? No. It's our job to call them back. Twice, 3 times, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, whatever it takes. Now at some point, I get it. We're going to mark them dead. They're not responding. They told us to take it. I get that. But I'm talking 2 messages. Client never called me back, they're dead. 2 messages over 3 days. It's not going to work. I want lead router to work. I want us all to make money on it. But we have literally, how many dead leads do we have in lead router approximately right now over the last couple, 3 years? Anyone want to take a stab at it? I don't, well, there's actually more than that. The number is almost 5,000. 5,000 dead leads, marked dead. Caller came in, I'm interested in 123 Main Street, sent to an agent. Agent at some point said they're dead. Is it possible that maybe legitimately so, maybe they're just dead. Is it possible that maybe one of those buyers who called in last summer was frustrated and just done and just written offers and said, forget it, never call me again? That now might be re-entering the marketplace? Is that possible?
Sure.
Is it possible that they were in those stats I just threw up on the board and bought a house?
Sure.
Yeah. We need to call those folks, and we are calling them. Okay. Who knows who this is? Who is it? What movie is that?
Training Day.
That is Training Day. Okay? I just love this. I love this new presentation thing I got. You have no idea how much fun I had putting this thing together. That is Training Day. We are going to have some mandatory, yes, mandatory. There are very few things that we do as a company that are mandatory, including this meeting. By the way, thank you all for coming. I don't think you saw anywhere in the emails that I sent that this meeting was mandatory. It was encouraged, and maybe some of your colleagues or maybe your sales manager said it's mandatory. But I didn't say it was mandatory. Having said that, if you are going to continue to participate in Lead Router, we are going to be putting out some training classes that are mandatory. If you do not come, you will be off the system. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Good. Who thinks that's the best idea they've ever heard? Okay. For those of you that are raising your hands, you are probably the people that are actively using Lead Router and are frustrated because you feel the leads are not being handled properly. Now, one of the reasons that this training has to be mandatory is because I am terrified. I am terrified. Who knows that I have a Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac account? Who knows that a large percent, and I apologize that the graphic is so cruddy, who knows that a large percentage of our leads that go through Lead Router are Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac type leads? Well, they are. Who knows that we're being secret shopped? This is why we need training. I've been secret shopped 7 times on Fannie Mae. I've failed twice. Failed. One of them, who I will not call this person out, is what I consider one of the top agents in my office and one of the top Lead Router conversion folks in the system. Failed. Failed. How many times am I going to be able to be failed as a secret shopper at Fannie Mae and keep the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac account? Not often. I'm terrified. Shelley and I have this conversation many, many times. I know I've talked to Norm about it more than once. This is, so just so you know, when we talk about training and we talk about making some changes to Lead Router, this is not done punitively. I'm not trying to be mean. This is frankly being done out of salvation. Okay? We cannot afford to screw this up. There is going to be a tremendous amount of, and quite honestly, forget about the Fannie and Freddie leads. All the leads need to be handled properly. All of them. Properly, professionally, on time. You know, take the time. It's not good enough just to pick up the phone and call them back in 3 minutes. If you don't literally have enough time, is a 5-minute phone call a long phone call? Yeah. For me it is. I mean, I'll be on the phone. I've talked to you for an hour. I hang up and say, gee, that was 5 minutes and 22 seconds. Right? Are there clients that need more than 30 seconds or 60 seconds? Can I get back to you tomorrow? Can I make an appointment? I'm a little busy right now. I'm on an appointment. Are there clients that want to know, is it close to shopping? And expect an answer? How are the schools? And I know that's a loaded question. But do they expect some sort of an answer to that question? Even if you're not comfortable completely answering the school district and the crime rates? They expect answers. We've got to do a better job. And I have not, just so we're clear on the secret shoppers, this is not me secret shopping our agents. Okay? This is my clients hiring a calling house and randomly calling in and then reporting back to the client saying, Lance's people didn't do a good job. They couldn't tell me any, which by the way, if you're on Lead Router, is the expectation to know something about the houses that we have in inventory?
Yes.
Yes. If we have a new property and you haven't seen it, you have an obligation to go see it if you're going to take Lead Router calls. You cannot say, oh, you Mrs. Jones, I haven't seen that property yet, but I'm sure it's really nice. I looked at the pictures, and I'll meet you out there Tuesday. Well, what about that back bedroom thing? It looks like, well, I haven't seen the property yet. That's not acceptable, guys. Who previews property every day? I love you, Hector. Guys, I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. If you're not seeing property every day, what are you doing? You should be showing. Okay, well, then why don't you preview while you're showing? Everything you show you've never seen? No. There's not that much inventory out there. We need to be looking at inventory. Okay, all right, enough about that. Anybody got any questions on Lead Router before we jump off Lead Router? Okay, we're going to get a schedule out for some training. Hopefully, yes?
You've taken yourself off Lead Router.
Yep.
Okay, because you're on a vacation or whatever.
Yep.
And you still get calls. What happens to that call?
Okay, well, you shouldn't. The question was if you take yourself out of Lead Router because you're on vacation, or which is fine. Everyone, if you don't know how to do that, you can do that. I'm checking out this weekend. I don't want to get the calls. I'm not feeling well. It's my anniversary. Go into the system, log yourself off. You will not get calls. Now, what will happen, though, is if during that 4-day window that you were checked out, before you check out for the new calls, you need to go in and see what you have in the pipeline that's incubated and who are you supposed to call tomorrow and on Saturday and Sunday, because then if you don't do that, you will be red. You will come to the attention of the sales manager or myself, and then we're going to say, what's going on? Right? Because we're all taking, you checked out, I'm sure you just got back from a little vacation. I won't ask you this question, but I think the answer for most of us would be when you check out for a little bit for the 3-day holiday or for the week, do we do business? Yeah. On the phone all the time, checking email, doing our thing. So just make sure you don't go red during that period of time. Yes.
If you're not actively doing Lead Router right now, can
Yep.
you still do the training?
Yes.
And where's the training going to be at?
Well, it depends on how many people we have. To be honest with you, I'm going to send out an email. And it's going to be a trick email, so let me tell you right now. I say, we're going to be doing training next Tuesday, so on and so forth. Please let me know who's going to attend. I'm going to send it to 165 agents. I'm going to be surprised if 20 of you reply. Okay? So if 160 of you reply, we will probably do it here. If 20 of you reply, we'll probably do it in Marina Valley. Yes, you have to drive to Marina Valley. I'm sorry. We have a bigger conference room and a bigger meeting room. Okay? I'm telling you right now, and again, if you're one of the 20, you should be happy. But if we have 50% of our agents that say, yes, I'm interested in training and continue on to Lead Router, I will eat this clicker. I'll eat it. Half of the agents that are in our company that are currently on Lead Router will not even, who checks their email once a week? Raise your hand. More than once a week. More than once a day. Every 2 hours. Every 10 minutes. All right, good. You know, hey, we live in a world now that says we have to be available. We have smartphones, we have iPads, we have technology coming out of our ears. We'll see. So, bottom line is, if you want to take the training but you're not ready to participate, that's fine. Then you'll be ready. You'll be in the queue. You'll be good to go. Okay, let's take a look at something's 10. Okay, IT, internet technology. Brian. Anybody who brought a bag of tomatoes with you as it relates to IT? Check them at the door. We've had everyone go through metal detectors. I understand we have had some technological issues, specifically Covina and Claremont and others. Okay? It is the largest priority I have right now, short of selling houses. I cannot tell you how aggravated it is, and I'm sharing your aggravation. I'm channeling your frustrations. We are trying to sell real estate, but we're hindered because of our technology. It should be the exact opposite. Okay? I'm spending more time dealing with IT-related issues than I am with transactional-related issues. There's something wrong with that picture. I get it. I am you. Okay? We will do better. Okay? Now, if you want to beat me up later, we're going to have a little time for some questions later. We can talk about certain things and all the rest of that. But I don't want to really turn this into a half-hour beating on the slowness of the IT connection. I know it's a problem. You may not feel that I know it's a problem because it's gone on for far too long, but we're going to fix it as quickly as possible. Only one? Apparently it's not a problem. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about our website. Our website is always a work in progress, but I'm very happy with our website. I want you to be happy with your website, or our website. I want some feedback. I want some suggestion. It is a WordPress site. We have tons and tons of domains. This is not all of them, but not everybody is aware of this. We have cbmorinovalley.com, CB Redlands, which, by the way, to go back to Moreno Valley, we also have CBPRE.com. We also have PioneerRealEstate.com and a whole bunch of ones that we've kind of gathered over the years that the Moreno Valley agents are familiar with. In Redlands, we have CBRedlands.com. We also still have the RealtyCenter.com and the CBRealtyCenter.com. If you are accustomed to using those domains to search the website, they are all still there. I actually kind of like this CB/city. I have found myself talking to clients. I know they're calling about the Moreno Valley market, maybe on a rental or something like that, and they're like, you got to get your website. PioneerRealEstate.com is tough. CBPRE is tough because C is in Charlie, B is in boy, P is in Pioneer. But you know what? You know what they get instantly? CBMorenoValley.com. If you're in Redlands, they instantly get CBRedlands.com. So I would suggest you start using those addresses. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get CB Santa Ana, but I think I got one, probably even one better. We are CBOrangeCounty.com. By the way, Shoes is probably cringing right now because I think we're violating some policies with Coldwell Banker, but until someone tells me otherwise, we're going to continue to do it. So, but we are also CBOrangeCounty.com, and so on and so forth. Okay, ColdwellBanker.com, obviously that's our parent site. I said I was never going to say this ever again, but I'm going to say it again. This is our website. If you are a consumer and you want to find an agent for our website, you go to find an agent, you click on what city am I looking for, and then you get something along this lines. This is, someone was looking for an agent in Claremont, and Taya and James are there. No videos. There's not one agent in the Claremont office. And if I'm wrong, let me know, because I understand ColdwellBanker.com has had some issues with videos lately. But there's not one agent in the Claremont office that does a video. Let's pretend for a moment that Hector doesn't work in Claremont, that Mike and Charlene and the gang put a video up there. They will always be at the top of the search forever and ever and ever. I have been begging you guys to put videos. You're not doing it. You're hurting yourself. If you don't know how to do a video, then
Just schedule someone to go to the offices and line them up. I'll see faster and easier.
would you like me to cook your breakfast for you this morning? You want me to go? Would you want me to fill out your listing paperwork for you? No, I'm not going to help you with your video. Do your own video. Find somebody to help you with your video. Ask your grandkid, your neighbor, ask somebody who's done a video. And the reason I'm being so harsh about it is I've already volunteered to help you all with your videos and nobody's asking for help. Now you're asking now and I get it. Take responsibility for your business, folks. Do a video. Or not. But don't get frustrated then when you come see the next one. There are 5 agents in Moreno Valley who have done videos out of 60. And actually, 2 of the 5 are Team Delgado. So you've captured 40% of the video market. Okay? Do a video. And even though I just said, no, I'm not going to help you, of course I'm going to help you. You be proactive. You tell me you want help. You come to me. Rose, about 2 weeks ago, came and said, hey, I've got a client who wants to do a testimonial video. They're coming in. They're going to say nice things about me. Can you please help me with this? And an hour and a half later, we were in the conference shooting a testimonial video with her clients. Ask, and we will help. This is back to our website. I have not publicized or advertised this at all. I'm spending, I think, $300 a month or $200 a month for something that most of you in this room don't know anything about. If you go back to, let me go back a page or two. It's going to be a little difficult to see. But on our homepage, up here, there's a section under Buy Sell. And under the Buy Sell, there's an Investor section in there. If you click on the Investor section on our website, I am paying. Who's heard of what's the guy's name? Shoes, Greg Rand.
Greg Rand.
Greg Rand. Who's heard of the name Greg Rand? If you saw a picture of him, you probably would recognize him. He's a big broker out on the East Coast. I think he owns some Bedrooms and Gardens franchises or stuff. Now he does a radio show. He's on CNBC all the time. Smart guy. That's him. If you can see behind the video thing. But anyway, we are subscribing to his investment program. It's pretty cool. Okay? This is on the public side of our website. I want you guys to all go there, take a peek at it. We need to get trained on it. And basically, there's some really cool modules in there. Who's working with an investor or who plans on working with an investor this year? Okay, if that falls in, if you answered yes to any of those questions, you need to take a look at this. It's got some really neat metrics. I'm paying for it. I'm not charging you for it, technically. It's part of your split, I suppose. But take a look at it. It's really, really nice stuff. And I'm short on time, so I'm not going to go through too much more on that. Also, who knows that we have a licensing school available through our office on our website? 6 of you. Who's got their DRE renewal coming up in the next 3 months? Coming up. Do me a favor. Take your continuing education through our website. Be the guinea pig for me. If you absolutely hate it and you don't find it user-friendly and it turned out to be a waste of time, I will refund your money. Okay? But you can't find a better deal than that. And it's cheap. I don't know exactly what the fees are, I should, but it's really, really inexpensive. So and it's not just if you have a new license that you're thinking of getting in the business, refer them to one of our sales managers, we'll get their license on the site. But you can also do your renewals here. Please check it out. Let me know what your experience is. It's all available on our website. You just click on licensing. It takes you to this. I can't remember the name of the company that we're contracting with, but it's all branded with Coldwell Banker. And it's nice. It's good stuff. So if you fall into that category, please take a peek at it. Who got my email yesterday? Who's on Twitter? Honestly, who really does Twitter?
What is that?
Yeah. Well, just don't feel bad if you didn't raise your hand. I had a Twitter account for 3 years. I'm not quite sure I get it. Okay. Having said that, I've been told by a couple people in our office, some of our younger agents, that we need to be twittering and tweeting. Okay. So yesterday, I think I got a pretty darn cool Twitter handle. I didn't think this was available. We are at cbnewsfeed, or not .com. We are. So if you want to follow us on Twitter. When I say us, the company, and again, Shoes is probably cringing because there's another use of that CB. Not supposed to do that, by the way. But everybody does, so what the hell? I'm following everybody else. Anyway, so if you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at cbnewsfeed.com, which I've been told by a couple of people, how in the world did you get that name? That's a pretty cool name. It was available. We got it. So, we're going to do an experiment. And so far, where's my phone? See how many followers we have. we have 4 followers. Now, we've only had the account for about 30 hours now, and we got 4 of you. And frankly, everybody on this list I asked to follow me. 2 of them I asked to follow me because it wasn't working right. And I said, would you please find me and follow me? Which means the other 150 or 60 of you or so that got the email yesterday, you either didn't read the email or you read it and you said, I don't need, I get that. I get that. But we're going to try something out. And maybe this is going to force you guys to become Twitter users, and then maybe you'll discover whether Twitter is for you or not. And I understand the objections to this because I've already gone through them all in my head. But we're going to start tweeting out company news daily. Hey, Redlands has got a sales meeting on Tuesday, and Rick Waller's going to be there and talk about whatever. Hey, Covina's doing this on Thursday, and somebody's going to be there. And, if you're interested, come. What's that? Or, hey, there you go. Hey, mandatory lead router training, Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Now, for those of you that are saying, wait a minute, why don't you just send us an email? I will. Why don't you put it on Facebook? We don't, but we will. I've been told we need to embrace social media. I think this is part of that. Right? We're going to experiment with this. My expectations are low. Having said that, we're going to put some stuff on here. And we're going to tweet. It's going to be company-wide. So I would encourage you all to follow us at cbnewsfeed.com. All right? And we'll see where that goes. We're going to do some more stuff on Facebook. I'm not really happy with our Facebook presence right now. But it's on the list, and we're going to go through that as well. Training. We do a lot of training. Most of you, I don't think, even know about it, what we're doing, or where we're doing it. This is a link on our website. If you're at the home page of our website and you go to the far left side and you scroll down about 2/3 of the way, who's familiar with the portal/agents? Who has been on the portal/agents? Good thing you're here then, okay? You click on that button. That button takes you to this screen. It's not exactly this screen, but it's going to ask you for a password. The password is CBPRE agent. Yes, I understand that PRE stands for Pioneer Real Estate. Maybe we'll get rid of that and change it to CB agent. Okay? But the password is CBPRE agent. Once you put that password in, you have unlocked the key to all things that are Coldwell Banker, Pioneer, Town and Country, and Realty Center. All right? Our training calendar is there. We have videos on there. We're doing a lot of video. This video, if you could stomach sitting through another 1.5 hours of me and another 1.5 hours of shoes, then this video will be on our website within a few days, along with the contract class, business planning, CB Works, how to deal with in-house REOs, and another 35 videos that we've done. If you come to me and say, Lance, I need help with my short sale, I will say, I'll be happy to sit down with your short sale and talk to you. And we'll sit down, and if within the first 2 minutes it's obvious to me that you've never taken any short sale training, I will then turn to you and say, how come you haven't taken our short sale training? Oh, I was busy that Tuesday because my part-time job was interfering with mine. And then I will say, oh, well then you need to go to our website and you need to watch the 3-hour video that I did on short sale training because it's going to take me 3 hours to explain the basics of short sales to you. And to be honest, I don't have the time to sit down for 3 hours and explain something to you that you haven't taken the opportunity to learn it yourself. Now that may sound harsh, and I apologize, but that's why we're videoing this stuff. Who's attended one of Norm's training class? I know if you're Claremont Covina, it's 100% of you. I got to tell you, Norm, raise your hand. If you don't know or haven't met Norm, we have an absolute jewel of a trainer back there. Well, sure, and I'm assuming everybody that's clapped their hands has sat through one of his classes.
Yep.
Norm and I have been dating for a couple years, and we've known each other for a couple years before that. I've never sat in one of Norm's classes. I'd heard he was good, and I just sat through about a half hour of a contract, which, by the way, contracts classes are almost as dull as doing this type of market data class. The guy's fantastic, okay? We're videoing all of those classes, and they're going to be on the website as well for you to see. If you can't make it to Claremont or Covina, and I understand that. That's why we're doing that. Here's our training calendar. Full disclosure, yes, I understand that if you have looked at the training calendar, it's kind of been Moreno Valley centric. We're going to change that. Everything that's in every office is going to be posted. You'll be able to go there and see, hey, Norm is doing a contract class in Claremont on Tuesday. You can go to the contract class in Claremont on Tuesday. You don't have to be a Claremont agent to do that. Okay? And everything will be posted there. Property management. I'm going to briefly talk about you in property management as opposed to what we're doing. This is a page from our website. It's under the rental section, property management services. I put a couple red arrows there just in case you would have missed it. Okay? Who knows we do property management? Who thinks that they might be interested in helping us grow our property management business as a great licensee within the company? Does anybody want to do that? I see some hands. Beautiful. We're going to be doing some training. This is the thought for now. Whatever day of the month your sales meeting falls on, the last meeting of the month after the sales meeting, I will magically appear. And we will take, and this is going to be every month, not just once, every month for the rest of the year, the last meeting of the month, and if you're in Moreno Valley, it's the only meeting of the month. We're going to take about an hour following the meeting, and we're going to talk property management for those of you agents that are interested in making some extra money. Okay? Now, many of you have probably already heard, hey, you go out and you sign up a property, we're going to pay you $500. Yes, that is me. I think I'm singing right there. But anyway, we're going to talk about that. We would love nothing more for you guys to participate in our property management system, make a little bit of money, incubate your clients, and move forward from there. So, we'll put it on the calendar, we'll send out emails, but I'm telling you right now, the last sales meeting of the month, following the sales meeting, we will be doing property management training, and we'll see who attends. Okay? And it's open to everybody. Having said that, if you're going to go out and sign up rental properties, you have to attend these trainings. I don't want you running around out there signing up these properties if you haven't attended our training. Mandatory. Okay? All right. And of course, Coldwell Banker University. I've spent thousands of dollars on Coldwell Banker University offering, for the most part, what's been free education, which for the most part none of you have taken advantage of. Coldwell Banker corporate folks have said we're going to change the model a little bit. Fortunately, they're not charging me what they were charging me before, but the reality is the majority of what's available on CBU is free or cheap. Take advantage of it, guys. Just really take advantage of it. Okay, escrow. Who knows we do escrow? Excellent. We do escrow. We are doing a lot of escrow, especially your short sale business. We are capturing, that's a bear trap. I'm not sure if that was the right analogy, but I did it. I typed in an image and Google says, capture, and I came up with some really weird stuff. So I figured out bear trap. Anyway, right now, we appear to be capturing about 40% of the directable escrow business in our offices, which is pretty darn good. Okay? Now, I understand a lot of the listing stuff is REO. We don't have the ability to do that. I understand a lot of you are working with buyers, and maybe you're not as able to do that, although some of you who have been representing buyers have been writing in our escrow and having success. Okay? But we're doing very, very well with the escrow side of our business, which for me is just so exciting because 2 years ago we didn't have any escrow. And again, I want to thank Norm and everybody at Town and Country, and specifically Amy and Walter. Amy, I thought I saw both of them here. Where's Amy and Walter at? I want to thank them specifically because they kind of, broke me in, so to speak, when it came to escrow. And I don't think Summer's here, and I don't believe that. Is Summer here? Where's Summer? Not that Summer. Escrow Summer. But at any rate, we're capturing some business. I want to thank you. I want to thank you guys because it's market being what it is, company dollar being what it is. This certainly is a help. So thank you very, very much. Okay, we're going to talk about some mortgage. I want to apologize in advance to Supreme and Tony and Summer. I don't have your guys' logo on here. I had it copied and pasted and it fell off my presentation somewhere. So anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of our mortgage relationships and partners. First of all, Caliber Funding, and for those of you that know Sharon or Joy, they've got a couple partners here, but stand up, Sharon and Joy. They're back there somewhere. Where do they? Okay, there's Joy, there's Sharon. They're with Caliber. If you've been around any period of time, you may recognize Sharon's name because she used to be a Countrywide and frankly did great work for us, 20 years ago and still does. We're developing a new relationship with them, and you're going to see their faces a little bit more, similar to the way you see Tony and Summer and Claremont Covina a lot. So I just want to introduce you to them. They're going to basically be available to you, and frankly, I would like you to treat them kindly. Coldwell Banker Mortgage, and again, I apologize for the imagery here. I didn't realize it was such a bad scan when I took it. But we're doing something similar with Coldwell Banker, specifically Rick, who I know is here, and Durana is here, and Paul, are you guys here? Okay, there they are. Okay. Now, Coldwell Banker Mortgage, which by the way, who knows that Coldwell Banker Mortgage and PHH are the same? Well, Coldwell Banker Mortgage and PHH are the same company. Okay. This is the deal. Right now, and this is going to go into our lead router class. Who has sold a Fannie Mae or tried to sell a Fannie Mae property in the last 5 years? Okay, who's considered home path financing? Okay, well this is, at the moment, this is it. Now, I cannot stand up here and force you guys to use these folks for your home path financing, but I certainly can encourage it. And I'm encouraging it. All right? If you're, and I'm not talking just our in-house stuff, I'm talking about everything. If you are in a situation where you're doing home path financing, they're on the list. And I know Tony wants to jump up and say, we're on the list. And I know Sharon and Joy want to say, we're on the list. Well, you're not on the list. You're brokering to somebody who's on the list, but you're not on the list. Coldwell Banker Mortgage is on the list, the approved home path mortgage list, as is PHH. And if you're doing that type of business, I want you to use them. And quite honestly, they're in the office. If you're in Redlands, you already know and love Rick. He's calling on that office on a regular basis. Durana has been calling on our Moreno Valley office pretty consistently for 6-7 months now. And Rick, from what I understand, is going to be jumping out to Claremont Covina and saying hi. There's a lot, and I will tell you, I wouldn't do commercials for any of these folks if they weren't quality. Okay, but it's specifically on this home path stuff. I want you to take advantage of them. I put Chase up here for no other reason. We do a lot of Chase REO in the office. If you are doing a Chase specifically in-house or on another REO property that's outside, and they are requiring a Chase pre-qual, does anybody run into that? Yeah. Okay. I want you to go to our website, and I want you to click on the Chase logo. And I want you to register your buyer through our website. It's going to send them to our Chase representative. I don't care if they're buying a Chase REO that's in-house or they're buying one on a property in LA. I want you to get your Chase pre-quals through our Chase rep, whose name is escaping me. Who is it? Mario Martinez. Thank you. Okay? It is important to me and the office, and it will help you get your deal done. So if you already have a relationship with Chase, I get that and I understand that. Maybe we can talk about it offline. But I really would like you to support the guy that we're using with Chase. Same thing with B of A. Who's having a heck of a time getting B of A pre-quals? Well, they're still asking for it. We do B of A REO. Let's try to go to our B of A contact in relation to that. And again, I apologize to Tony and Summer because I know they've had a long-term relationship. Your logo actually is somewhere on this presentation. I just don't know where. I can't find it. Okay, we're going to skip to property management, and I promise we're almost done. Now, this is a little different conversation than what we were having before. We do property management. If you are not interested in signing up clients and making $500 to do property management, I get that. It's not worth your time, it's not worth your trouble, it's not worth your headache. If that's the case, I want you to at least be able to know what's going on our website. We've got a bunch of videos on our website that talk about what we do, the importance of keeping your pool blue as opposed to green, and all that sort of stuff. Today, at our meeting, we've got Aubrey. I see Jay, and I saw Aubrey earlier. Is Aubrey still around, or did you give up? Stand up, Aubrey. Say hello. Jay, stand up. Say hello. Aubrey's, yep, man. Aubrey's basically kind of our in-house overseer of the property management department. All things property management can flow through Aubrey as it relates to something that's already signed up. If you have new clients, Jay's our sales guy. Jay is you. Jay does not get paid unless he signs up new properties. He's very interested in meeting with you. maybe not so interested with you going out and signing up your own and picking up $500. But, you know, at any rate, we're going to see where we're going to go with that. So all of the information on the property management site is on our site. These are screenshots of our website. This is the tenant page. They can search rentals. They can apply online. They can do the whole 9 yards. This is the owner page. If you have an owner that wants to sign up, quite honestly, if you want to do your own training on what we do, go to the owner's site, take a look at it. Pull the information down. Read it. You're trained. You're 80% of the way there. All right? So we have built, I can honestly say, nobody would be sitting in this room today, at least in this capacity, if 25 years ago we didn't start doing property management. And what I mean by that is Pioneer Real Estate, as it was previously constituted and as it stands today, would not be in business if we didn't do property management, which means that I never would have met Norm, and I never would have met Sheila, and you guys may be in business, but you wouldn't be doing business under the current family of Coldwell Banker companies. Property management is a very, very, very good thing. And you may be thinking to yourself, why, I don't get it, I'm here to sell real estate. Let us incubate your clients for you. Let us incubate them. You're on a listing appointment, somebody says, I want to rent. Don't do what we normally, we don't do that, you know, whatever. Take a few minutes, get them into our system. Those landlords are going to become what? Sellers. Maybe buyers too. Okay? Get them into the system. 2 years later, they're going to want to sell. We're going to go into the computer and says, Lou gave us that client. What are we going to do? We say, Lou, here they are. Take them back. All right? And then quite honestly, the tenant pipeline is nice as well. Okay. Real briefly, we have a maintenance company, REO Asset Maintenance. You may not be aware of that. If you need some help on maintenance, keep us in mind. Stuff. We're out of time for stuff. Keep your files clean. All right? Let's keep my annual premiums to a minimum. We have 3 lawsuits going on right now. 3. You know how many, prior to those 3, you know how many I've had in the prior 25 years? 0. 0 transactional related lawsuits in 24 and a half years. 3 in the last 9 months. Ouch.
What are the topics?
You really want to know?
Yes.
One of them is a buyer who bought a property in Moreno Valley that was located in a homeowners association. The homeowners association prohibits the property to be rented during the first 12 months after purchase. We were the listing agent. Buyer bought it, was an investor. We gave them CC&Rs, we gave them the disclosures, they had the whole 9 yards. They were given full notice, but what we did not do is specifically say, oh, by the way, read page 17 of the CC&Rs as amended on this date, which tells you what your restrictions are. But we also didn't tell them that they can't park a motorhome in their driveway, and we also didn't tell them that they can't paint their house blue without permission. And there's a bunch of things that we didn't tell them other than read them in the CC&Rs. Anyway, they closed escrow and now they're suing us. Thank God for email. We have another one. This hits a little close to home, but what the hell? Don't let anybody move into your house that hasn't closed escrow. Can I get an amen? Amen. Let me repeat myself. Do not let anybody move into a house. I don't care whether you represent the buyer or the seller. I don't care if everybody thinks it's a great idea. Do not let them move into a house that hasn't closed escrow. Amen. Is that real estate 101? Yes. Is it going to cost me some money?
Yes.
Who's done it? Raise your hand. I've done it. I've done it. Okay?
Even if you have an interim occupancy agreement?
Ever. The question was, even if you have an interim occupancy, are there going to be extenuating circumstances? Are there ways to cover yourself? Are there proper ways to document it? Yes, 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 yes. Are you potentially asking for trouble?
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, and the third one is so painful I can't even mention it, Hector. So, I don't even remember what's the third one. There's another one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the third one's very painful. The third one, we have an agent that did some bad stuff. No longer works at our company. but did some bad stuff. Basically committed fraud and lured some people into what ultimately turned out to be more transactions. 2 of the 9 transactions were done under our company. Best I can tell, they were done okay. But then there was another 7 transactions done after that that not so okay. And we're litigating. It's going to be fun. Can't wait. Anyway, so with that being said, everyone's E&O premiums will triple starting tomorrow. Kidding. Just kidding. Okay. In the topic of stuff, the last thing I really have in that regard, and then we're going to wrap up. We're going to take about a 5-minute break for everyone to go to the restroom, and then we're going to bring up shoes to finish up our day. But it has to do with sales reports. I don't have it on the thing here, but I would really appreciate it if everybody would be diligent about getting sales reports into your manager or whoever you're designated to get them in. You know, if you sell a house, please let us know. Is that too much to ask? Just let us know. You know, most of our offices don't have sales boards. I don't like sales boards. Matter of fact, if you're in Moreno Valley and you're wondering what happened to the sales board, I took it down a couple days ago. I've never liked them. If for no other reason, at least our office culture within Moreno Valley, people are not accustomed to writing things on sales boards. When I first got into the business, it was so exciting when you listed or sold something. The very first thing you wanted to do was run into the office and write it on the board. That somehow has gotten lost, I think, at least in some of the offices. So whether you're using sales boards or not, there is a sales report. I please ask you to help. It really helps us project where we're going. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to take a gamble with this because these are YouTube videos. They do require a live internet feed. And gosh darn it, every time I've tried this, they don't work. So what we're going to show you is 6 commercials. These are which many of you have already told me you've seen these. This is the Coldwell Banker media campaign. You're paying for these, so I hope you like them. But this is kind of the flagship, commercial. This is the 60-minute commercial. I've seen this one run about 3 times, and let me see if oh, you got the microphone there? Let's see if we can get the audio to work here as well. So let's hopefully keep your fingers crossed, and this will load. I might have that on mute, Brian. Hold on a second. There we go. Let's try that again.
Morning. And times that by the sound of kids laughing from the bottom of their bellies. Then you add the taste of the Cabernet family from Thanksgiving. Multiply that by the warmth of the winter fire. Then you subtract the stress of work and minus the struggles of the outside world. Add the power of a bedtime story. Times that by the square root of a grandmother kissing her grandchild. Multiply all this by about 50,000 memories. 100,000 smiles. And then you have a value. Coldwell Banker, where home begins.
I know you couldn't hear that very well. What did you think? You like that? I actually really liked the television commercials they did last year. And they're still on our website. And actually, all of these will be on our website as well. The one, if you remember the one, there was at least one that I really liked last year. It was the couple standing in front of the house and it sank in a hole and then the monster came over. These are a little more traditional, but I really, really like these ads. Coldwell Banker kind of heard our voices a few years ago with the founding fathers. Seemed a little stale, a little old, even though they tried to do some humor with it. They're certainly more traditional. Everyone recognizes the voice. I don't know if you could hear it. It was Tom Selleck's voice in the voiceover. Anyway, there's 3 more short ones. This is what they're titling the innovation commercial, which, by the way, you guys need to have these. Especially, in my opinion, especially if you're out there doing listing presentations, traditional or short sales or otherwise. Get these on your iPad, get them in your presentation, and get these to your customers, even if you're emailing them a link or as part of a pre-listing presentation. Let them know what we're spending our money on.
Owning a home is a wonderful experience, and we think looking for one should be too. That's why Coldwell Banker provides the most remarkable tools in real estate. Tools that let you browse homes, explore neighborhoods, see agents, and get information instantly and anywhere. So whether you're ready to look, ready to buy, or just ready to dream, the place to come
Has anybody seen that one, by the way?
No.
Okay. Have anybody seen the first one? Raise your hand if you saw the first one. Yeah, okay, that's the one I've seen the first one a few times. I haven't seen any of the shorter ones yet, but here's a couple other ones. This is kind of the same thing.
Here's to backyards and all the things that make a house a home. Coldwell Banker, where home begins.
Okay, so they're hitting on the innovation, the backyards, kids. Here's the kid one.
Here's to kids and all the things that make a house a home. Coldwell Banker, where home begins.
You like that one?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Everyone laughs when a little baby comes down with the shoes. When I first got into the business, I had no money. Still don't have any money, so to speak. But and I'm passing out flyers. Okay, remember clip art? Who used clip art? Yeah. Right? You go to the thing and you pull out the thing, and I pull it, and for whatever reason, clip art or images of babies. That's what works, right? You know, I didn't know why. I'd take a picture of a baby, I'd stick the little baby head on the top of my flyer, I'd go out to my farm and pass it out, my phone would ring off the hook. You know? I think dogs, kind of the same way, you know, the whole pet thing and whatever, I think, which is the next one, here's the pets. But I got to tell you, put a baby in your marketing. Just your guys' reaction with that little baby coming, it just proves it. Here's the pet one.
Here's to pets and all the things that make a house a home. Coldwell Banker, where home begins.
Okay, I think that's the last one. It is. So Brian, you don't have to torture yourself there anymore. So that's the national advertising campaign. I'm glad to see that we've seen a few hands that are coming up with the at least I've seen that big main commercial, which is kind of nice. We're going to let me know if you see the other ones. You guys like them? They look good? I think they're probably the best. Anybody not like them?
No, this is the new mobile app one. You know, I think that we did it for yesterday.
That's the innovation one.
No, it's a different one.
It's a commercial?
So a guy went through his phone and like sitting in a chair and going to the house.
Really?
That's the, where it's the sign with the foreclosure, this for sale. That's the one that I've seen the most. I haven't seen any of those, but that one with the older guy
Is that,
sitting with the
Shoes, does that sound like an old commercial or a new one? That might,
That's a CAR commercial.
That's,
Oh, it's a
that's the
commercial?
CAR.
No, this is
Okay.
completely different.
okay, well apparently there's another one. I'm telling you, I think you guys should, I would get these, I would get them downloaded, I would get them into your presentations. Put them in your presentations. Little stuff. Diane Arnoff, I know she's not here, I mentioned her twice today. She's a pet person. She does a lot of listing presentations, okay? I guarantee you the commercial with the pets, she's going to put that, that's her thing. She's going to have, and it's a 15-second spot. It takes you nothing to play. Okay, that's Alfred E. Newman, for those of you that don't know, from Mad Magazine. For some reason, I just put him up there whenever I ask Q&As. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a few minutes of questions. Then we're going to take about a 3 to 5 minute break, and then Shoes is going to close us out for the last hour and a half or so. What do you got? Anybody? Yes?
I have a question, because I heard this, and I'm not sure it's accurate,
Okay.
that our real estate commissioner for the California
Gary, Commissioner's changing. Where's that microphone at? Yep.
wants to get rid of our board and have us pay our dues directly to them.
No. The question was, is the real estate commissioner wants to get rid of the Association of Realtors and have our pay our dues directly to them. That is not what's being proposed. What's being proposed is, due to budgetary stuff, the Department of Real Estate is going away. Okay? Right now, the Department of Real Estate is just that. It is a department within the state of California. And they are going to change it. I'm probably going to use the long word, maybe Norm or somebody else in the room knows. They're going to turn it into a lesser body, and they're going to put it under the Attorney General's office. Okay? Now, that in some ways scares me a little bit, because if they do that, next time we get an audit, we're not going to be audited by the auditors from the DRE, we're going to be audited by the auditors under the Attorney General. I'm not sure I like that. Having said that, it's budgetary, And not that I'm a huge fan of Jerry Brown, but I give Jerry and the legislators some credit. They're trying to cut the budget. And frankly, I'm not a fan of DRE. I think they're bloated, and they're probably wasting our money. So the reality is DRE is, as we know it, will probably not exist within the next budget cycle in California. But it has nothing to do with the Board of Realtors.
Okay, are they also going to make us have a 2-year license too?
I don't believe so. The question was, are they going to make us have 2-year licenses? I don't believe that's the case. Yeah. That's the best we got. Hector? Oh, Hector's always good for a question.
With regards to lead router, have we improved our efforts with regards to scrubbing the zip codes that we actually serve?
I believe so. Again, the question is lead router and zip codes. There's been some problems, and some of them are absolutely legitimate, where our service areas as defined by zip code are not as defined as they should be, and maybe an agent in Claremont is picking up a lead out in Temecula, and they don't really want that. Are people still experiencing, and when I say still, I mean within the last 60 days, are we getting a lot of leads that frankly you don't want? You've specifically said, I don't work this area, but you're getting a lead in that area? Okay, a few of you. We should improve upon that. It's never going to be perfect. The Achilles heel of that system, quite honestly, is Sandy. It's all Sandy's fault. Sandy, stand up. Okay. The call girls, as we affectionately refer to them, that's our call center. Everybody knows we have a call center. Oh, which, by the way, before I forget, I trimmed the call center hours. I don't even know if anybody realizes this, but I trimmed them down from 8 to 8 to 8 to 6 about a month and a half ago, which was stupid because then the time change came and now our phones are starting to ring quite a bit after 6. Sorry, the call center hours are going back from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. again, I think on Monday. Having said that, if a lead comes in and it's in Temecula and the call center doesn't exactly get the location and the zip and the address, which happens, you got to remember, even though we want the call girls to be the scrubbers, and we want to get as much information as we possibly can, so when that lead gets into the system, it gets to the appropriate agent, I have specifically directed them not to go too deep into that conversation with the caller. In other words, if a caller calls in and says, I'm John Smith and I'm interested in 123 Main Street or whatever there happen to be, unless they're volunteering a lot of information, I don't want them asking for email addresses and how many bedrooms and square footage, and if Moreno Valley doesn't work, would Riverside be okay? Because frankly, they don't want to give that information. Okay? And we piss them off when we start queuing them that way. So if you're getting that lead, don't automatically assume the call center didn't do a good job scrubbing it, and what happens is because a lot of times they don't want, a lot of times they'll just get calls that say, I want an agent to call me and give me information about a property. Which one? Well, can I talk to somebody right now? Well, no, you can't. Well, what do you want to call about? And you've lost them. Other than the fact that they've already given us a name, John Smith, we got the caller ID on the phone, sometimes we get that, which is why it's so important when Sandy does that procedure to a client, and then maybe they're a little frustrated because they weren't able to talk to an agent right away. That's why it's so critical that you guys call them back immediately. Because if we do call them back immediately, which by the way, what's the rule? How long do we have to call them back? Who said 20 minutes? Off the lead router. It's 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes, but 15 minutes is even too long. Sandy puts them in the system, Sandy press send, somebody's phone is ringing within 90 seconds. You're that person, you click accept, you should call them back in 3 minutes, because if you don't, they're down the road and they just called the Remax time. And guess what that agent picked up? You need to call them quickly. But again, don't beat the call center. I know it's inconvenient, but if you happen to get one of those leads and it's in a market that you're not servicing, give it back. It's no different than being on the floor. Okay? You're going to get calls on the floor that you're not going to want, and you have to scrub it. We're going to just take a few more. We're cutting into shoes time. Yeah.
Some of my leads turned red, not from the first call, but from the second or third call.
Yep.
Because I've got a busy day, I'm out in the field all day.
Yep.
I get back, look at the internet, and I got a red.
Yep.
So is that going to count? I mean, I'm trying to call it within a certain length of time.
This is the challenge. The short answer is no. But if that lead has been read for 5 days or a week,
Okay.
that's a problem.
Yeah.
If your lead, well, first of all, it's a problem in that when you go red, you can't get any more leads. You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want more leads and you're red, you can't get any more. So I would, number one, try to manage that a little bit better. But number two, if it's just red for 4 hours for half a day, no big deal. That's not going to give you a lot of heartburn.
So you know whether it's red for 1 day or 5 days?
I do. But I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be looking at these reports. Who's been in my office? Physically in my office in Ring Valley? I have 4 monitors in my office. The far left monitor is lead router. I look at it all day. I mean, not all day, but glance, oh, there it is. What am I looking for? I'm looking for red balls. I'm looking for red. That's all I look at. Look for red balls. Be nice. If I see a lot of red dots and I see the same agent's name popping up, it's not what you want. Not what we want. Okay. So there's probably 1 or 2 typos in here. So I'm going to apologize in advance. So if something pops up and it's, oh geez, come on, guys. I got it. All right. So at any rate, we're going to talk a lot about what we need to do in this market to be great. Because it's frankly, it's necessary. I'm a big market guy. I love data. If you don't love data, then for the next at least 30 minutes, you probably want to go to the restroom because we're going to talk about a lot of data. I love this illustration because I think, frankly, most of you in this room are this ostrich. Okay? And I don't mean to, and I'm going to say multiple things today that may sound offensive. I apologize in advance. So if you think I'm talking to you, I probably am. Okay? So that's a terrible business plan right there. If we're just going to go along to get along, and I don't really want to know, and I don't want to know the news, then you're going to be in big trouble, in my opinion. Okay, I have about 45 news articles that I have just pulled out of online sites. Most of these are within the last 2 weeks. A few of them might be in February. There might be 1 or 2 that are going back as far as January. But you're not going to see one headline that's more than 90 days old. And we're going to go very quickly because there's literally probably 50 of them in here. And by the way, if you're not subscribing to most of these sites, you should. Okay? This one came off of, I think, Housing Wire. And they do a morning thing, Uncle Sam's foreclosure tallies. It's just talking about, foreclosures that are being tallied up. Who subscribes to Housing Wire? Okay, if you don't have your hand up, start subscribing today. It's free. HousingWire.com. Send the blog post every day. There's some great stuff in there. B of A introduces new program to distressed home buyers. What is this? Who knows what this is? What is B of A talking about doing?
Bulk sale.
No, rents. B of A is talking about going to homeowners that currently have a loan with B of A. They fall into some sort of category of distress, and they're saying, I'll tell you what. How about you deed the property back over to us and we'll rent it back to you? Good thing, bad thing?
Bad.
Okay. Maybe a bad thing. I'm not overly excited about it. What does that do for us? Does that take us out of the transaction?
Yes.
It does. So for selfish reasons, and did anybody, I know we were kind of talking and chatting, did anybody actually take a minute to watch that? I'm not going to play it again. We will post it on the website or a link, or you can just Google it. I love that video. I was introduced to that at a conference like this, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And who actually paid attention? By the way, when I ask you to raise your hand, mean it, okay? Who actually watched that video when we were... Okay, it's only 4 of you. Okay, so the rest of you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm not going to replay it, but it basically talks about the difference between good and great, between exceptional and not so exceptional. The difference between, winning the race and coming in second. And it's literally, if it's a NASCAR race, it could be, milliseconds. If it's, a golf match, it could be a stroke. The whole point of that, at least my interpretation of that video, is something that we've talked about a lot in our sales meetings, is the difference between being good and being great. Okay? If you're good, you will not win the NCAA tournament. Okay? And quite honestly, even if you're great, you may not win the NCAA tournament. You've got to be above that. I think that analogy in our business has never been so true. Okay? 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, who was in this business in 2004, 5, and 6-ish? Okay, most of you in this room. Could you make a decent living in this business in that period of time by being good?
Yes.
Could you make a decent living in this business by being average?
Yes.
Yeah, you could. You could be and quite honestly, you could be fairly mediocre and actually do okay during that period of time. How about 2007, 2008, 2009, 10, 11? Different ball of wax. Okay? You've got to be great. If you're not great, you're going broke. How many agents do you know that you considered good agents 5 years ago that are no longer in the business? I know dozens of them. Actually, if I really put my mind to it, there's hundreds of agents. Not only good agents, but good real estate companies. They're out of business today. So part of the message I want to send today is oh, by the way, I got a new presentation program I'm using. I could not figure out how to get the damn thing to spell check. I'm going to talk selfishly a lot today.
Not use property management.
Potentially. Well, we're going to talk about that. Thank you, Robert. There's going to be a lot of things on here that we may collectively say, generally speaking, that's not great or very healthy for our marketplace. Having said that, let's go back a slide or two. Okay? If rentals are going to be a big part of our industry over the next period of time, and I have multiple slides that talk about banks renting out properties, is property management a good place for us to be? Now, most of you in this room may say yes, but what good does that do me? Because you're not directly involved in the property management side. I get that. Maybe that's something that we might want to talk about. How do we get us more directly involved in the property management? I'm assuming everybody in here knows that our company's been doing property management now for 25 years. Thank God. And frankly, we may be doing a lot more property management over the next several years to come. But Robert is absolutely correct. If B of A's program takes off and they're going to make a big effort, who are we going to be contacting regarding the property management of those B of A units? Who's going to be doing that? Me. Okay? And maybe you, depending upon where we move from there. By the way, hopefully this presentation doesn't get you too nauseated. I've watched this a few times and I literally made me sick if I go too fast. So if some of these slides bouncing around cause you trouble. Okay, who subscribes to the unemployment claims from the U.S. Department of Labor? I would suggest you do it. It's free. Okay? I can forward all this stuff to you every day. We can post it on our stuff, and that's all well and good. But they send an email once a week, and it's really cool because I feel like the smartest guy in the room because on Thursday, before they post the unemployment numbers, and then on Friday morning, when you turn on the television and they say, hey, unemployment went up, unemployment went down, I feel like a genius because I get to tell people about 12 hours before that, hey, guess what? Tomorrow they're going to report the unemployment numbers are going to go down. It's public information. The only reason I know is because they send this email out on Thursday night before they make the announcement, and most of us don't pay attention, and then Friday morning or sometime on Friday we see a report that says, hey, unemployment went down. What's unemployment in the United States right now? What's the rate? 8.3, down from a high of 9.1. Okay, is that a good thing for us? It's a good thing. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. Good thing or bad thing? Help me out just so I know you're not falling asleep. So at any rate, this was from last week. This was an unemployment report that came out. It may be difficult to read the numbers, but basically what this says is that the number of people applying for unemployment decreased, which is a good thing overall for the unemployment rate. I just pulled this out of the press enterprise. German journalists covering inland foreclosures. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's a good thing. Why? I think it's a good thing because I think we already are seeing it. Who has cash buyers? Who has investors from other parts of the country that are buying our properties? I see several hands going up. Is it possible that people in Germany are going to think that the Inland Empire is a good place to invest? Southern California, United States? I think this is a great thing. The fact that we're getting, and it's not that I get the gut that says, oh geez, they're talking about a foreclosure market in the Inland Empire. That doesn't sound good. Well, come on guys, we've been talking about foreclosure market in the Inland Empire for 5-6 years, okay? The conversation that we're having now is a different conversation. It's not a conversation that says the world is ending, there's a lot of foreclosures. The conversation is, there's a lot of foreclosures, the market has hit bottom, we're starting to see recovery, maybe we should invest. I like this article. And if you actually read the entire article, that's exactly what the article says. So it's a plus. More bright spots emerge in the housing market. Good article or bad article? Let's be selfish. When we see something that says bright spots emerge, we like that, right? Come on. Rate of properties entering shadow. Rate of properties finding light. The gist of that is they're saying the shadow inventory is starting to emerge. We may disagree with that in certain areas. Inventory is low. We have problems with inventory right now. But the gist of this, and this article is I think from a week ago, the gist of this says it's coming. Okay? Be prepared for it. Home prices expected to fall 0.7%, says Zillow. Is that a big deal? 0.7%, less than 1%? Is anybody going to get concerned about that?
No.
I wouldn't. That doesn't sound like a big deal to me. I love this one. This was put up by Housing Wire. Did anybody say anything about this? The FHFA, that's the regulatory agency that basically regulates Fannie and Freddie and HUD, decided to actually call some consumers to see whether or not their principal reduction, they're doing a study, saying, what do you think about this? And if you read the entire article, what they found by making 50 phone calls is that there's a problem. Okay? All they did is they called consumers. Market forecast. I got yes.
Could we turn down the lights so I can't see it?
I am sure that we can. Hey Aubrey, is that you in the back?
Yeah.
Could you maybe go grab one of the people? Cindy is our girl. See, maybe she can dim the lights a little bit for us. So until we get those dimmed, bear with me. Anyway, we're going to do our market forecast. I've been all over the place. Well, again, you guys know I'm out of the office a lot. I'm doing, is that better?
Yeah, that's
perfect. Just in the last 4 months, and I'm probably going to miss one or two of these. Last week I was at the REOMAC conference in Palm Desert. If you're not familiar with REOMAC, that's an REO-centric kind of group. And the reason I go there, quite honestly, is business planning. I honestly don't really go to those things to meet asset managers, to meet clients, and to do that type of networking, although there's a lot of that going on. And I really don't go to those things to meet other agents to network and do that sort of stuff, although there's a lot of that going on. I go there for data. What does this person think is going to happen in the market? What do their numbers say? So anyway, we've been in REOMAC, the Gem Blue event, which we did have a few of us that attended. I know Sheila, is Diane here too? Yeah. Sheila and Diane from Redlands went and participated. I know that was a tough event this year for a lot of people budgeting, I understand that. But there's some good stuff that happened at Gem Blue. We're going to talk about some of that. I've been at the CAR meetings in Palm Desert in January. I was in New York at the Inman conference in January as well. And I think there's probably one other I'm missing. If Anna was here, she would remind me it was the other one. But just in the last 4 months, I've been to what I think are at least 4 or 5 very valuable conferences, if for no other reason, to go see what's going on in the market, push it into my business plan, so then I can share it with you guys so you can put it into your business plan. So, at any rate, we're going to give you the kitchen sink today. Okay? There's a lot of stuff, and we're going to move pretty fast through this stuff. And again, I apologize if we move too fast. Having said that, everything that's in this presentation, it's not yet, but it will be posted on our website within the next day or two. So if there's something you want to see or what have you, all of that market data will be there. And we're going to cover a lot of stuff. So, who's seen that 212-degree video that was planned before? Okay, only half of